WWE Raw Results, July 29, 2024. WWE begins winding down the road to the biggest party of the summer, tonight in Minnesota. WWE Monday Night Raw returns at 8/7 this evening on the USA Network from St. Paul, Minnesota. With the WWE SummerSlam 2024 Go Home episode of the show. On tap for tonight's show is Sheamus vs. Bronson Reed, Gunther vs. Finn Balor, Xavier Woods vs. Kross, Akira Tozawa and Otis vs. the Creed brothers, Seth Rollins to give referee instructions to Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, as well as Lyra Valkyria, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance vs. Sonya Deville, Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler. WWE then. Now. Forever. Together. Kicks things off as always, and then we shoot to footage of the Cleveland Browns Stadium being put together for the set of WWE SummerSlam for this weekend. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee welcome us to the show as we see some superstar arrival shots. Seth. Freakin' Rollins referee rules meeting for CM Punk vs. Drew McIntyre. Inside the arena in St. Paul, Minnesota, the theme for Seth. Freakin' Rollins hits and out he comes in a glossy, almost bedazzled type of referee, zebra-striped gear. He settles in the ring to kick things off with the advertised referee rules meeting for CM Punk vs. Drew McIntyre at WWE SummerSlam. The camera pans up and down Rollins' special referee gear, and then he wastes no time introducing the participants for the highly anticipated grudge match at the biggest party of the summer. First, the theme for CM Punk hits and out he comes with the slicked back hair and cut-off sleeve t-shirt, chumming it up with the St. Paul crowd on the way to the ring. Before he says anything, the entrance tune for Drew McIntyre hits and out he comes. Before his theme even dies down, we hear Michael Cole sorta kinda reference his photo with Jack Perry on X, pointing out he has stirred things up on social media again over the weekend. McIntyre and Punk glare at each other as the music dies down. Rollins begins by informing Punk and McIntyre, per orders of the office, that neither man is to lay a finger on each other or Rollins or the match at SummerSlam is off. Punk jokingly slides out of the ring to say he's got no reason to stick around if that's the case. McIntyre tells him to exercise self-control like him. Punk says he's not worried about him, he's worried about what he will do. Punk finally gets in the ring per the demand of Rollins. Punk tells Rollins to enjoy him saying things and him having to listen to them while he can. Rollins makes it clear to McIntyre that the only person who hates Punk as much as him is he. He says the same to Punk about McIntyre. He tells them if they'll shut up he'll finally get to the referee orders. He tells them they only give up when he says. He talks about how it's going to be a violent spectacle and says a lot will be left to referees' discretion. Punk takes a quick shot at Rollins, telling him that him being a referee is like a hat on a hat, which based on how he dresses, is something he probably likes. McIntyre begins first, and says he tore Punk's triceps and put him on the shelf for 7 months, and he wasn't even trying. He talks about Punk screwing him at WrestleMania and in front of his family. Punk tells McIntyre he's lucky to orbit him, and says he's the third wheel in this. As they continue to talk, McIntyre taunts Punk with his bracelet. Punk gets in his face but won't touch him. They stare each other down very intensely. Very good stuff, folks. Very good. Alpha Academy vs. the Creed brothers. Backstage, we see the Judgment Day clubhouse torn up. Rhea Ripley sees this and loses it. She tells the Judgment Day that Liv Morgan has gone too far and there will be consequences for this. Back inside the arena, the Alpha Academy theme hits and out comes Otis and Akira Tozawa accompanied by Maxine Dupree. As they settle in the ring for our opening contest, we shift gears and head into a pre-match commercial break. When we return, we see the Judgment Day still reacting to the clubhouse. Finn Balor says he'll handle Gunther tonight. He asks who's gonna handle Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Rhea Ripley speaks against it again but sits back and lets them devise a game plan. Inside the arena, Chad Gable leads the Creed brothers down to the ring for our first match of the show. Julius and Brutus Creed settle into the ring fresh off of action at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 11 event over the weekend. The bell sounds and we're officially off and running with this one. Otis and Julius Creed kick things off for their respective teams. Julius is bull rushed into the corner by Otis. Tozawa tags in and Creed takes over. He hits his impressive suplex spot, which starts with him hoisting Tozawa up in the suplex position while seated on the mat. He continues holding him upside down as he stands up and finishes the suplex. Tozawa starts to fire up with fast-paced, high-flying spots as we head into a mid-match commercial break. When we return, we see Otis finally get a hot tag and take over. He hits a bunch of his trademark power spots as the crowd goes nuts. Eventually, the Creed brothers hit a double back suplex to Otis off the ropes for the win. After the match, Gable joins them in a beatdown. Maxine Dupree tries to attack. When they go to back her down, the lights go out and the single piano note hits. The Wyatt Six come down, unmask and attack the Creed brothers as Chad Gable tries to escape. He backs up into Uncle Howdy and runs off through the crowd. We head to a break on that note. Winners, the Creed brothers. Sheamus vs. Bronson Reed. Backstage, we hear that Dominic Mysterio vs. Sami Zayn is scheduled. Carlito misunderstood and got Adam Pearce to make that match instead of himself versus Zayn. Rhea Ripley stands with Dom as they tell Carlito he now needs to handle main event JUSO himself. Inside the arena, Sheamus' theme hits and out comes the Celtic Warrior for our next match of the evening. He settles in the ring and his music dies down. The theme for Bronson Reed hits next, and out comes his opponent. As he settles in the ring, we see footage from last week of Sheamus interrupting the Reed and Pete Dunne bout. The bell sounds and we're officially off and running with this one. After the two trade shots to get things started, Sheamus settles into the early offensive lead. He clotheslines Reed out to the floor and hits a top rope splash onto him at ringside. He goes to charge at Reed, but Reed back body drops him onto the commentary desk. On that note, we shift gears and head into a mid-match commercial break as the action continues.